a nonprofit organization in the western suburbs of Chicago that during those cold, frigid, freezing, sub freezing, windy city winters would coordinate shelter for the homeless population of those neighborhoods. And each night they would rotate the homeless population from shelter to the shelter would be these big churches all throughout the neighborhoods. So these big churches throughout the neighborhoods, one night a week, would open their doors in their fellowship halls and their soup kitchens and their multi-purpose rooms. They would allow Nellie's organization to navigate the homeless there. And then we would show up and we would feed them. They would show up, they would get a meal, we would prepare the meals ourselves, bag them up individually for every person that was coming through there. They would get a place to shower and bed down for the night, and it was called the pads because we laid the pads out. Unbelievable. So our organization, we just talking about resources, y'all. I'm talking about saving lives with having access to resources. That's what I'm telling y'all. Having access to resources, when you pass it off, saves lives. Now, when you take the resource and you use it for yourself and use up the resource, that's all you're going to get with it. But we know the parable of the talents. They call it talents. It's the parable of gold. It's talking about wage. It's talking about finances. One talent was worth 20 years worth of wages. Yeah, that's right. One talent was worth 20 years worth of wages. So the person in the parable that got one talent got 20 years worth of wages. That's resources. The person that got 2 talents got 40 years. That's retirement. Resources. The person with 5 talents got 100 years worth of wages. Resources. And that's why the king was upset, because they just took the resource. The one with the one, he was the only one that just took the resource and gobbled it up. He didn't take it and become the lifeguard. That's the story. That's what the story was saying. I want you to be a lifeguard. Read the story. Read the parable. What happened when the one with the 5 talents flipped it into 10? Turned 100 years wages into 200 years wages. Right? He flipped it. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. You was faithful over few, you be faithful over many. And he took from the one and he gave it to the one who flipped it. He said, if you're going to use these resources and be a lifeguard, I'm going to give you more and more. And I know it's true because that's what's happened to me for 20 years. Every time I got dry washing garden, I used it for to save a life. The Good Samaritan crew pops up. It says, boom, you want to save them with that? We're going to take everybody who's been dropping out of high school and we're going to help them get back in school, because we're going to put them in a Christian fellowship league.